This video is going to cover Chapter 9, Plan Sheet Production, Exercise number 3, Plan Profile Sheets. So let's go ahead and get started. Move down to the exercise itself. And this, what we're going to do here is we've created full plan sheets and full profile sheets. Now we're going to do something a little extra and do a plan profile sheet and show you how that works. Okay, so we'll need to create a new 2D file and name it name boundary, plan profile, route 54, and the job number. Again, the name boundary is the name of the file, the type of the file. Plan profile is the type of the name boundary. The route 54 is the alignment that we're using. And then you always put the job number at the end of the file for the UPG. So we're going to do this from the civil geometry file located in the Data 9 folder. So we'll go ahead and open that up. Data 9 folder, civil geometry. We'll open that up. I already have it open in the background, so all I'm going to do is copy this. The name of the file that I want to call it. I'll copy that and then go into the Open Roads Designer. So go over that. This is our civil geometry file. Do a file, new. And then make sure you're in Data 9. And we are using a 2D file again. So we'll go ahead and paste in that file name and do a backspace to get rid of that space. So the name of this file is going to be named underscore boundary underscore plan dash profile underscore route dash 54 underscore J5P3181.dgn. So if you've got it like I have it, you can hit the OK button. And we'll create that brand new blank file. Okay, once we're in here, and it looks like I'm about there, we'll go back to our instructions where it says step 2 is to load the GCS. Okay, so we've been doing this all week using the Road 1 tools, so let's do it again. So we'll go out to our Utilities tab, go to our coordinate system, the large world icon. Brings up the geographic coordinate system dialog, and we'll do from file. And in Data 9, we're going to go down to the terrain folder and hit open. So now we got our coordinate system set up. We're good to go. And close out of this. Back to the Word. The next part of it is to reference in the files that we're going to need to create our plan sheets, our plan profile sheets. So we're going to need our terrain. It also says to make it active. A civil geometry file, corridors for Route 54, and our land boundary that has our right-of-way. So let's do that. So back in here, I'm going to use the Quick Tools. Go to the References icon, to a Tools, Attach. And then when it comes up, I want to make sure I'm in the proper folder, which I'm not. I'm in Plan Sheets, so I'm going to hit that pull down. Go up to Roadway, Data 9, and select it. So again, I need my civil geometry, so I'll select it. Corridors, Route 54. Land boundary file, scroll down. And the terrain file. And those 4 files are what I need. So I'm going to hit the OK button. And then I'll accept the defaults for the reference attachment properties for each one of them. So that's 4. I'll do a fit view. Close the reference dialog box. And I see all my pertinent information. We have our civil geometry, which you can see the alignment, station tick marks and all that. You also see that we have our corridors file because I see this template drop. And I also see the handles or the grips for the corridor. I also see limits of construction out here and stuff, so pretty good to go on that. I see the land boundaries came across because I have this right-of-way line with the Maltese crosses. And then the last thing is the terrain. I see it came across, but I haven't made it active, so let's click on it. Get a heads-up display and hit set as active terrain model. Cool. Now that should be it. We'll go back to our Word document. All 4 of those are on. There's a disclaimer here on number 4. Turn on and off levels as desired before processing the plan sheets. This will keep you from needing to open each created plan sheet to turn off unwanted levels. So if you had some levels in your main files that you didn't want to see in your plan sheets, here's the opportunity to turn them off. And you turn them off in here, when you cut them, they come across as off, so you wouldn't have to worry about turning them off. If you don't do it, then you just have to go into each individual file that's been created and turn off those levels. In this case, there's nothing we want to turn on or off. Okay, so let's go on down to the next one. We are ready to place name boundaries. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our drawing production tools and go over to the name boundary, place name boundary, and we'll create some name boundaries for our plan. So let's do that. Scroll down and we're going to use these settings here. So I'm going to set up here, yeah. For class purposes, fill out the dialog exactly like the dialog below. So we'll come into here, go to our drawing production, over to our name boundaries. We'll open it up. And it's the last one that we used was a profile tool. So let's go back and check out our tool and how we want it set up. We're going to go back and use that plan. So we're going to use that first icon, civil plan. Then the second thing we're going to set up is the drawing seed file. And that is using the D-size plan profile plan view. And we're going to use a detail scale of 50. So let's do that. Go to our dialog. We'll hit civil plan, drawing seed. We're going to come down to design, D-size, plan profile, plan view. We call for a 50 scale, so let's change that. And now we're getting close. Let me zoom out a little bit, move over so we can see the alignment. So we'll come in here and we'll pick that alignment. Once you get that top part filled out, the rest of it fills out after you select the alignment. And it tells you down here to identify the path element. So I'm going to hover over that Route 54, make sure I've got it. And once you see that you've got Route 54 and you have an active profile to it, you just go ahead and left click on it. So now let's go back to that Word document. We want to start location at the very beginning. So we're going to use this icon to the route, or to the right, to fill that in for us. You also notice the name has been filled out once we selected the alignment for Route 54. The other part we're going to do is come down and give it an overlap to 75 feet. So let's do those couple steps. First thing, I want to start at the beginning. So click that button, it goes to the beginning, and I have to accept it to get it to start. So I left click, and you can see it's going to start building shapes as I move along that alignment. Now right now you can see that if I get that second sheet, I'm missing some edge of pavement and shoulders here. So what we want to do is we want to do an overlap, 75, and hit enter. And now when I do it, you can see we've got room now. We're getting all the edge of pavement and all the stuff that we need to see. You'll also notice at the beginning, it has moved off of the very beginning start point and gave us some room. So overlap helps with a couple of things. Okay, so once we've got that overlap checked on, we're going to come back over here and make sure that we have create drawing and show dialog selected on. Now there's stuff in here that we don't want to mess with again, just like before in the previous chapters, the length, the left and right offset. We don't want to modify that stuff. And the stop location is going to be a dynamic click. When we get out there, we'll pick where we're going to do it. So down here it explains left and right shouldn't be adjusted. All that stuff fits within the sheet that we're going to create. If you give it more information, more room in here, if you add to it up in this area, or this over here, if you add to that, it will now place geometry outside the sheet, which can cause issues. So you don't want to do that. Okay, once the name boundary is completely filled out, I'll go through the process. We already did the selection of the alignment. We left click to start it. And this notice says the start location and stop location can be typed in if you wanted to. And also that the clipping shapes will not dynamically follow along the alignment. So what it's saying here is these shapes that we place, is you can't move them and get good results out of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out and I'm going to go ahead and left click to place this, and it's going to show the create dialog. Actually, we don't want to do this. We want to check these off for right now. So let's uncheck those. We want to create these and use the name boundary manager to create the sheet. So we'll check that off, and I'll update that manual. But 1, 2, 3 blocks. We're going to put 3 shapes out here, 3 name boundaries for our plan, and go ahead and left click. And then you'll left click one more time to accept it. It'll pause and then the dialog will go away, but you'll see that we do now have 3 shapes out here. If you go to the Word document, I need to update this up here because we definitely don't want this part to happen. It'll create the sheets without the profiles. So I'll have to come back and fix that. Okay, so now that we have that out there, we want to open up our profile window to create the profile clipping shapes. So in the plan view 1, we select the desired alignment, which is Route 54. And then from the heads up tools, we're going to select open profile model option. And then we're going to select view 8 to apply the model in that view. So let's do that. So I come back out here. I highlight, hover over the alignment, select it, give my heads up display, go to open profile model, and I'm going to populate it in window 8. So I hit 8, go into the window, left click to accept it, and you'll see that we now have a proposed and our existing profile, just like we did on the full plans. Once that part's finished, now we can, let's see, name boundary, replace that, we did that. Now we'll fill out the dialog just like we have in the dialog below. And again, we won't check that create drawing on. We want that unchecked. So let's go ahead and start this. Let's go back to the tool, the name drawing production, and we're going to change it to a profile. We're going to pick the D-size plan profile view, and our scale is going to be 50. So let's do that part. Okay, drawing production, place name boundary. We're going to change it to civil profile. Pick our seed file, which is that plan profile view. Our scale is 50, 1 inch equals 50, so we'll go to that. Okay, now we're at the part where we can tell it what to do after that. Let's look at the Word document. It says we're going to use from plan group because we're using a plan profile. We've already got the plan group created, and then the plan group we're going to pick is at 54. So let's do this. First thing I want to do is come out. I'm going to select this proposed alignment in the 3D, or excuse me, in the profile window. I'm going to come out, hover over that profile, and left click. Okay, it populates some information. Now I'm going to go to my method, and I'm going to change it from station limits to plan group. A lot of stuff went away when you did that. Okay, and you can see when I move my mouse away, it's ready to place those 3 shapes that we had that coincide with the plan shapes that we have out there. The next important thing is our vertical exaggeration. Again, it's a 10 and divided by 10, or just knocking off the 0 at the end, so we're at 1 inch equals 50, we'll go to 5. Then the other thing that's important is this use active vertical. Very important. So we'll go in here, verticals at 5. Everything else is defaulted fine. Use active verticals, perfect. Once we're at this point, then you can go out into a blank area in your profile window and accept those shapes. It processes and it's gone. So we've got our plan shapes, and now we have our profile shapes. So let me go back to the manual. Okay, we did all that. Start location, length, left click, boom, they're there. You can adjust the profile shapes. Again, if you do that, you're just raising it up and down with that tool. So if you need to move this sheet up a little bit higher and have more profile towards the middle of the sheet, you can do that with this tool. Next thing we want to do is we're going to left click, we placed it, we're good. Now what we need to do, and I'm going to have to come back to the manual and edit this part, but we're going to open up the drawing, or we're going to open up the name boundary manager. That's what we're going to do. So the name boundary manager, we haven't used it in the previous 2 chapters, but in this chapter you need it, because if you open it up, when the name boundary manager comes up, you'll see you have a plan group, Route 54, and a profile group. And you can use these little triangles to open up to see what it contains. So 3 plan sheets, 3 profile sheets. Now for this to process, what we need to do is make sure that this is checked on. Show the create drawing dialog. And then the other thing is we have to select either this profile, our plan, or this profile. Either one will give us the information we want. If you select a profile, you're going to get that where you can create a profile drawing or you can create a plan profile drawing. If you select the plan, it's going to tell us we can get a plan drawing or a plan profile drawing. We want to do the plan profile drawing. It's very important that you check this show the create drawing dialog box on before you do anything. This little pencil squiggly mark. And then we'll come back here and we'll create that plan profile drawing. Okay, now this is the dialog that looks more like that Word document. Okay, so we come out here, what we're going to do is we're going to path our plan sheets. So we're going to make sure this is checked on, and we're going to verify where we're going to store these files. So it comes up, it looks like plan sheets. I'm going to select it anyway. You want to put that in your Data 9 plan sheets area. Then we'll hit OK. So the top part of this is filled out. This will create an individual DGN file for each one of our plan profile sheets. Okay, now you see there's a left side and a right side to this dialog. The left side deals with plan, the right side deals with profiles. So when I bring my dialog back, or my Word document back, we'll go through this. You see the purple squares with the purple dash triangle or arrowheads pointing to each other. What that represents is that, again, the view name, drawing, and sheet model names being the same will create new files with the defined name. No spaces or special characters, as always. So I'm going to come down here and copy the name that we're going to call this, which is that Route 54 Plan Profile Job Number _01. So Control C. I'm going to place it in each one of these views. So the view name on the left side, and really you only have to do it for the plan sheet part. 2, and then the sheet model name be the same. So they're all the same name. And that way, when we create our file, it'll start here, and then it'll go to 02 and 03 for the other plan profile sheets. Also in here, we got to pay attention to our scales. On the scale on the left, for the plan, we want 1 inch equals 50. And for our profile, we want 1 inch equals 50 as well. Plus, we want to set up a 50 scale grid. So let's go back over to the dialog. So this has to be 1 inch equals 50 on the left side, 1 inch equals 50 on the right side, and then we're going to set the annotation group for a profile. And we're going to pick 1 inch equals 50. So far, so good. Go back to our dialog. It's got a, down here it shows the detail scale needs to be 1 inch equals 50. Okay? So we want that. We want the sheet model. It's always going to have an annotation of 1 to 1. They both do. And then the next part is the detail scale. We'll follow the name boundary, which we set up at 1 inch equals 50. So we're good. And if open models checked on, it's going to open up the last model that creates, last sheet model. Okay, so we'll go ahead and hit the, I believe we're ready for the OK button. When we do this, it's going to ask us again to update the server copy. And it's going to have us check in some files, the 3 files that we're not going to be getting into. Okay, so let's do that. Everything looks good. Go ahead and hit the OK button. We'll let it process. See in the bottom right, the process bar. What it's doing now is it's creating a brand new DGN file that's going to have a plan model, a profile model, and a sheet model containing the plan and profile drawing models. So you'll, in essence, you'll have 3 models. And you can see by the dialog here how it's going here. It's got the sheet model, which is its plan 3, and 2 drawing models, plan, drawing, and profile. Here's that update server copy. We'll go ahead and select it. And then we'll get the check in for the next 3. And again, we're checking the name boundary that we created. We're checking in sheets 1 and 2 because it's going to open up 3. So we'll check those in. And we'll go to that sheet 3. And here it is. So I'm done with the name boundaries tool. I can go ahead and close that out. And this is what sheet 3 looks like for a plan or profile. You get your plan at the top, profile at the bottom. Get your annotation on, since we turned it on. We've got our grid lines, we've got our slopes, and our BPT. So that's the sheet model. If we come down to our models, you can see we've got the sheet model that we're in, and you have 2 drawing models. So if we go to the plan drawing model, we can select it. It's this one here. And there's the plan. Here's where you would put your arrowhead, north arrow, your any notes that you have for the file, for your project, a scale. This is where you do all that information in there. It would all be in here. And again, it shows the different name boundaries in here. So again, that's also a construction. So if you don't want to see it, you can turn them off. But it doesn't show up in the sheet model. So if we go back to that, you can see it's not in there. And then it also creates that drawing model for the proposed profile. So we go in here and you can see it's already annotated it with the grid. You've got your profile coming down. You also have your station and elevation, or your slope. So let's go back to the Word document. Again, the drawing model is designed to add geometry like text, notes, dimensions, extra references, anything that you need to add to the file. The drawing model is still 1-to-1 scale, so everything is the same scale from the file that you create, that you cut from the sheets. And then down below it's showing us that here's the drawing model for the plan and the sheet, or the proposed profile drawing model. And again, the sheet model, it explains it again, that sheet model is just taking those 2 models and putting it together to give us a plan sheet that we create our PDFs from, or that we plot out from. And again, the only thing that you want to edit in there at this point in time will be the title block. Okay, so nothing else gets placed in there. And that concludes exercise number 3 and the video.